1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody's outside, so come on, let's ride to the builder's yard around the corner. The gang's all here, and it's time for us to do what we wanna. There's a house with the roof that leaks. It's an urgent job, and it could take us weeks. Metal, brick, or wood, it's all good, and we can always bring in the tractor. A little bit of timber and a saw, a little bit of fixing, that's for sure. A little bit of digging up the roads, a little bit of moving heavy loads, a little bit of tiling on the roof, a little bit of making waterproof, a little bit of concrete mixed with sand, a little bit of Bob, the Builder Man. Why is that in my head? Maybe because of the countdown when it's going live. Hello, I am streaming horizontally. I hope that's what I wrote in the description. I'm a little bit out of it. I might have to fix it if I accidentally wrote it vertical. Yeah, I'm not too well today. I was gonna go to a gig and not stream at all, so you're lucky you're getting anything. Yeah. What's been going on? No, I woke up and my neck and shoulders are all like, and I've been in like migraine prevention mode all day, and I don't know, it probably doesn't help that I haven't been getting enough sleep, with no thanks to the bloody neighbors and their noisy aircon that they put on at 3:30. The one day I really needed sleep because I had to go out to the hospital and, get checked out by the rheumatologist. I have started on colchicine. I'm only taking half a tablet a night at the moment because I'm still waiting to see if I get any bad side effects. So far, so good, I think. Like the first day, my stomach was a bit upset, but that might just be because I hadn't slept and it was such a hard day. It was so rough. Like, I just, 3:30 in the morning, woke up, knew the bloody aircon was going to be cycling on and off. We've already talked to them about it. And so like, it really sucked that they decided to put it on anyway. Yeah, I couldn't sleep after that. I think I left someone a bit of a cranky reply because they commented some dumb shit on one of my short videos, I think. And, I was well aware that I was cranky, but, you're gonna cop it. Yeah, and then I ended up just getting up really early, and I was the first person out to greet Triton, whereas usually it would be one of my parents who says hello to him in the morning. He was thrilled, took him for an early walk, managed to scrape in a little bit of sleep after that, but my parents, I don't know which parent, but someone was making noise at the doors, and I'm like, oh my God. So I probably got about 20 minutes of sleep, then sort of lay around for a bit, then had to go to the hospital and try and concentrate and try not to fall asleep in the waiting room. The rheumatology nurse was fast, but then I had to wait for the actual rheumatologist and listen to dude in front of me who was one of those guys who can't stand silence. So he's trying to chat up all the other patients and just talk about all kinds of crap. So I was kind of behind him. I sort of just like, I was tired anyway, but I was kind of playing that up a bit more and, sort of nodding off a bit on purpose. So that he wouldn't bother me because I didn't really want to talk too much. It was just like, I didn't even bring my book that day. Usually at the hospital, I'll bring a book, but I was just like, there's no way I'm going to be able to focus. So yeah, I answered the rheumatologist, update on things. She answered my questions, including like, some things that some of my own uneducated medical ideas, just to see like, hey, is this a thing? Am I totally off? And she took me seriously and like outlined, what would be the actual consequences of some of my ideas. But yeah, and then, we don't know what's wrong with me. I don't really fit any particular criteria at this stage. So just taking a guess, trying colchicine because it reduces inflammation. And, even if I don't have what the top running theory, even if I don't have that illness, colchicine's used in a few things. Inflammation appears in a few different conditions. So we'll see, but I'm going on it very slowly. The main side effect to watch out for is diarrhea, which the first night My stomach was not happy, but that might just be because I was so tired having had, like, fuck all sleep. I think I had a really long nap in the afternoon. My system was all out of whack. So and then, I what did we have for dinner? I don't even remember, but, probably my stomach was just not in a good place generally, so yeah, is that TMI? Well, um, yeah, so and then, like, yesterday no, today I took my second dose last night, and today my stomach's been okay. So I've just taken my third dose, half pill, and so far so good. If I suddenly have to run off stream, you'll know why, assuming you got here on time, or if you're watching on the replay. Oh, I didn't actually test my bloody chat thing and just see if this thing works. Ugh. And then what did I do yesterday? I'm so tired. I didn't actually do any filming yesterday for Filming Friday, but I did start posting more of my Snapchat bullshit, so that's slowly going up. There are a couple of longer videos that I should post, but I haven't been able to concentrate, and I think I'm still recovering. Like, yesterday I did okay, but, today my whole body is just like, "Nah," and, yeah, I'm still recovering from that, the other night, being woken at 3:30 in the morning. So no gig for me. I've had to take some painkillers. I've had to nap today. I had to take an anti-nauseum or half an anti-nausea pill just to function. Hello! How's the screaming going? I'm a bit concerned if I noticed in one of the live streams, I tried to do screaming demonstrations and no one in the chat told me, but it was like my scream was disappearing, and I think it's because good. I think it's because when I scream and I just keep a consistent tone, YouTube misinterprets it as background noise. So it was like turning the volume down on my screen and like trying to erase it. So no one in the chat said anything. It just sounds like it's slowly dying, but actually I was keeping the consistent scream, and I'm just like, is that just because it was on the phone, or is this microphone gonna do it if I tried to? But I don't know if I should really be. I'm so fucking tired. And yeah, I should be at a gig, but yeah, not well enough. So here I am, horizontally, rather than dealing with the usual vertical nonsense. Yeah, and like I had the whole thing at the hospital for rheumatology. I'm waiting to see if the new meds do anything, and I'm still having to there's this spot right here. If I work at that, maybe it'll help a bit. I mean, I've managed not to get a full migraine today, but I've had some pretty bad, at least not the headache part of the migraine. Got some new demos. Sounds rough because instrumental playing with me recording my vocals on phone. Okay, cool. Yeah, look, phone recordings, you kind of just have to do with what you can, with what you have at the time. And, setting up for proper recordings is a lot. So when you're just doing ideas, like sometimes I just open Audacity and record on the gear that I use for video. I'm actually using a field recorder for this because this webcam, the sound on it way back when I tried to record on it, it makes like robot noises and drops in and out. It's the worst microphone. Oh god. So yeah, I found my field recorder, connected it to the computer, and that's how I get a bit of like a stereo kind of thing going on. I don't know, it depends on what speakers you're listening to. But yeah, it's it's an H4n field recorder. And I think I've had it for I've had it for more than a decade and not really made the most of it. I need to not buy things that I don't end up using. But then again, I don't know what I'm going to end up using because my health is so unpredictable. And I'm so unpredictable. I don't know what I'm going to be into. But yeah, also, I'm in my pajamas already on a Saturday because I did my cleaning today because we're going to meet the puppy tomorrow. We were going to meet the puppy next weekend, but it's been brought forward. So yeah, tomorrow I don't know how much time I'm going to have. We won't be there all day, but yeah, I just thought since I wasn't well enough to go to the gig. Yeah, I don't think they've posted anything new on Facebook for the 6-week update, but I'll try and get some video tomorrow, hopefully, And then I can post it on my own channel instead of just having to share their updates. But yeah, we're in full swing getting preparations together. And then puppy's due home on the 22nd. And then chaos is going to reign. And like I've been trying to like reduce the amount of stuff that I'm doing in preparation and not take on commitments, but then like things keep coming up. This week, I'm hoping to get the guitars back from a friend. I don't know, he's not watching probably, but I'm hoping to get guitars back for a project that we're working on, which I think will be a lot of fun. And then I've got to do the vocals for it, and I haven't been practicing. I've sort of been haphazardly practicing, but then I've had other things to practice for, which I'm not going to talk about until anything's confirmed. And then there's other stuff I'm trying to keep secret as well. What kind of guitars? Just like metal guitars. Stuff that I can't play because I suck. Like I could probably do some of it if I learned it, but there's a guitar solo, and there's like one video that I posted on Patreon of me learning a guitar solo, and it starts to sound legit, but then I listen to like the same solo interpreted by someone else on this particular track, which is not related to that one, but and I'm like, yeah, okay. So I feel like my composition in terms of guitar solo is better, but my technique is fucking shit. So yeah, I'm not a guitarist. But yeah, no, like I've had a few music projects come up, and I can't exactly say no if I want to jump in. Like I've let everyone know that I'm super busy, and I've got like deadlines for things that I like. It's not I have to, but I want to, and my brain is like, no, this is a real deadline that I have to get this music stuff done for. So hopefully by the end of the year, I will have a few more music things out. Oh my goodness. Hello, are you on Centrelink? Yeah. But I'm not going to go into detail on that. They just like Centrelink. Yeah, I get a little bit of, I don't know, I'm probably a little bit traumatized by them because of the way they handle things. So yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much because I'll just get frustrated again. But they've left me alone. They've realized I'm always playing baritone guitars in drop G. Oh yeah, no, baritone guitars are pretty cool. And like, you can combine a bass. Have you seen those like guitars that have like a gazillion strings? Because, of course they do. There's always someone who wants to take things as far as they can go. But yeah. No, hopefully by the end of the year I'll have some more music stuff to put out there. And yeah, but it's not the music stuff I had planned to at the start of the year. Like on Instagram, I posted a picture, and I think I showed it on a live stream or some video at the start of this year on YouTube as well. And like I had a list of goals. Obviously, one of them is to figure out all this health stuff I'm going through, because it's so hard to be productive when you have to nap almost every day. And then you lose so much time, and then you've got to recover from the nap and try and wake up again. And then so like, it's kind of weird the amount of stuff that I do manage to get done given how few hours I have in a day. The medical stuff. Oh yeah, I had a bit of a ramble about the medical stuff at the start of this stream, but basically like it's been a rough week. The start of the week was not so bad. But then my neighbors had their noisy aircon on at 3:30 in the morning, which is not actually legal, at least in this area. I don't know how far the regulation extends, but like, and we've talked to them about it before, but they did it anyway. Had to talk to them again. And 3:30, once it was on, I couldn't sleep after that. And then that day, after waking up at 3:30 in the morning, I had to go to rheumatology at the hospital, and they still don't know what's wrong with me, the short version, but I've got some medication to try, and I'm on day 3 of taking a half dose because I'm nervous because I get side effects a lot. I've got videos, I think, about me having side effects to things. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. But because my sleep was so badly disrupted, I think that's why I'm struggling today. Still, yesterday was okay, but then it's all just like yesterday there was a lot going on here, and it was too much. And I think my brain's just like, nope. And today I'm exhausted again. Couldn't go to a gig, which sucks. So yeah. Health things, like, we're making slow progress, I hope. Oh, I should actually do a medical update video, because I'm also coming off some I think, did I talk about this last live stream? I'm not sure, but I'm coming off some hay fever meds and like, all that's being rejigged because I think the week before I had a nosebleed. So like, yeah. And then in terms of mental health, my mental health has been pretty stable. As long as I get sleep, like I've I was definitely cranky after waking up at 3:30, and there's someone's had to suffer that when they left a stupid comment on one of my shorts, and I'm like, all right, I can't sleep anyway. I might as well bitch slap this down. Yeah. Oh, it got me into making music. Do you mean like from the very start? Or do you mean the current projects that I'm working on, even though I shouldn't be working on anything because I know I'm getting puppy very soon? I was like, in the beginning, I think when I was really young, I always had a bit of a performance streak. And had I not had all the childhood trauma, I might have done more performance. Because I was actually very quiet in school, especially high school, and went through some much more obvious schizoid phases before coming back out of it and sort of figuring out some of my shit. But yeah, no, I think I was always into a bit of performance, and I'm not really sure about how I ended up with music, but the first thing I ever learned was violin. I think because a friend at school was doing violin, but I actually asked to learn guitar first because I was sort of aware of the electric guitar. I remember going to a holiday group, and there was a guy playing an acoustic guitar, and I was trying to ask him to play cool guitar, but he couldn't do it, and I didn't realize it's because it was an acoustic guitar, not an electric. But yeah, I remember wanting to play guitar, and I went to a private Catholic girls' school, and it was very up itself, and they told me that I was too young to learn guitar. So yeah, I ended up on violin because it kind of looks like a guitar when you're a kid, and my friend was playing violin. So yeah, I played violin. Kind of wasn't that into it. And it was this weird thing where if I practiced, my teacher would accuse me of not practicing. But if I didn't practice, she would say, wow, you've been practicing. It was the weirdest thing for me. So that it didn't exactly help me get into much of a habit. I think I played from like maybe, year 2 until year 8. So probably 6 years. But at some point I switched to viola because they told me if I didn't switch to viola, I would have to do AMEB exams. So I switched to viola, and then they made me do an exam anyway, and I had to read alto clef. Alto clef is it's like, the letters are like one off, and it's such a mind fuck trying to go from like, oh god. Do anything good for woodwind instruments? Well, I did violin, and yeah, and then, like, at some point, they told me I had to join the orchestra, and so I did, and it's the reason they wanted me in the orchestra. Usually, you would have to pass an audition, but they took me in straight away because I was literally the only viola player in the whole school, and most of the time, they couldn't even hear what I was playing, and I couldn't be bothered, so I would just, like, read the rhythms because alto clef just, like, it really screwed up my ability to read sheet music. When I was just playing violin, I got to a point where I could mostly read sheet music, but switching to alto clef fucked me up, and I don't think I've ever fully recovered from it. But so I would just read the rhythms in the sheet music and then just move my bow roughly which string I thought it should be on, and just moved it in time. And they had no idea I wasn't actually playing. You couldn't hear me amongst all the other violins, but there was one time I had a solo at the beginning of a song, and I did okay, but on performance day I fucked it up because of course I did. The performance anxiety and all that. Yeah, and then I think, what grade is it that you get to choose subject? I think year 8 was the last time you have to do the subjects they tell you, and then you get to choose subjects for year 9 and 10. And I didn't choose music, and very few people chose music. And so at one of our last year 8 lessons of music, they asked us why we weren't signing up for music classes, and I told my music teachers I never wanted to do music again, and now look at me. I could put in the chat the whole music, and now look at me. if you had your time again, would you have still studied music, or would you have gone something? Oh, look, I tried studying a whole bunch of stuff and it didn't stick. So my post high school education, I mean, I was better at maths and science in high school. Um, I just didn't enjoy it. And I mean, like, oh, there's so much to go into. But when I first left uni, like I no, when I first left school to go to uni, because it was expected that I would go to uni, it was never told to me that I could take on a trade or do anything other than go to uni. So, like, and no one told me about how the world actually works. People just assumed I knew. So, I went to uni, didn't know what I wanted to study, so I went for a combined science and arts degree. There is a degree that's like arts and sciences, which is 4 years. No, I did the double degree. I signed up for it. It was a 5-year combined thing. And I lasted one semester. Cause like I had no idea what to do. The first subjects I did maths because that was mandatory. There were 2 maths units that counted for like half the whole thing. I did psychology, which in hindsight, like, at the time I was watching things like Wire in the Blood and thought that I wanted to study criminals or something. But really, I think I was trying to figure out myself because I knew there's something up with me and I just didn't know what to make of it. Japanese for one of the arts subjects, and religion. I mean, Japanese, I'm half Japanese. Religion, I think we did Asian religions. And so that was kind of interesting. Um, and yeah, none of those were heading to any kind of a career. So I lasted one semester. And then that was the first time after that I was diagnosed with depression. I think I had depression in high school, but anyway. Then the next year I went to COFA and lasted one semester in the undergrad before rage quitting. I was going to, like, we had to, after the first semester, we had to pick a major, and I had somehow ended up in printmaking, which I tried really hard to convince myself that I wanted to do printmaking, but I cannot lie to myself. And what tipped me over the edge, though, was when we were doing, like, we had to sign, maybe it was like safety things, the first day back for second semester. But it turned, and I had to go to 2 different studio sign-offs, and I think they had made us think it was going to last the full 3 hours each, but it turned out we only had to be there. I'm just going to close this because someone's being distracting. Turns out we only had to be there to get our names signed off. And then I had like 3 hours to do nothing. And so I went to the cafe to get a hot chocolate, and the price of hot chocolate had gone up by 50 cents. And I thought, that's it. Fuck it. And I quit that day. I went to the office and said, no, I'm fucking done with this degree. The next year is when I went to AIM, the Australian Institute of Music. I started in the diploma because I hadn't studied enough music at school. And then later transferred to the bachelor degree and then finished the bachelor degree. Then after that, I think I took a bit of time off, but then I signed up for I think it was another double degree at Sydney Uni, mechatronic, engineering, and medical science combined degree. I did a few classes of that, but like I'd already played with basic robotics, and then I go into this class, and it's like a system has inputs and outputs, and it's like a whole lecture just for like basic definitions. And I'm like, oh my God, I've already, like, by then I had already programmed a Lego robot for one of my composition submissions, which that's still on YouTube somewhere. His name was Earl, and he played a keyboard. And so I'm just like, why am I fucking here? And there was also chemistry, and I couldn't remember with a Bunsen burner, do you make it open or closed to get the blue flame? But I had had a partner who was like fresh out of high school, so that helped because it was such a long time. Oh my God, I miss it. Drunk, I'm that nut. Drunk puppy is here. I'm sorry, I'm missing chats because I'm too busy talking about my education. But yeah, so mechatronic engineering, medical science lasted a few lessons. I even went to the workshop, like we had to go to a workshop at TAFE where we were going to learn welding, but I didn't get to that stage. I even got the like steel toe boots for it. But And then I think later that year I went back to AIM and did a bit of audio, but then I think, I got some prior credit, but then a few semesters in, first of all, surround sound mixing, they weren't going to let us do anything fun. It was just going to be normal, boring surround sound mixing. And then I tried to do artist management, and that, so many problems with teachers, blah, blah. I had to get my money back. At some point, I did online study for graphic design and rage quit when they wanted me to design 20 coffee logos, which I hate coffee, and I don't like being told what to do. So, yeah, I learned enough to do a bit of graphic design myself, but that was never going to be a career. Art was much more a thing. I think eventually I went back to COFA, this time in postgrad, and I finally did the Master of Art with excellence because academia is my thing. I may not be an amazing artist, but I can do the essay writing and bitch slap Mr. PhD in the design department who doesn't know the difference between a bibliography and a reference list. And don't set a 5,000 word limit if you only want us to write 3,000. Anyway, so I've had a go at studying a few different things. Mechatronic engineering and medical science was probably the closest I got to a real career. And but really, I just want to play with robots when I feel like it. I don't need to go through all the research stuff. I don't need to go through all the background stuff. Vaguely had ideas of the application of that degree would have been when people have amputations and they need a replacement arm, and they're starting to work on that now. But with the mechatronic side of it, I'm very disappointed in the current state of robotics and what we're calling artificial intelligence, but it's not the artificial intelligence I was fed 20 years ago when I first got more interested, or more than 20 years ago. Okay, where am I up to? So I actually did study a few things that would have been more like real jobs. I think if I went back to school, because I went to a girls' school for design and technology, they had us doing sewing. And then I found out my brother at a boys' school got to do some basic electronics. Their woodworking classes were better than ours, and all kinds of shit. So there are a few things that I would have liked the chance to do. And I did do some computer studies, and we did do a bit of robots in computer studies at my school. But I already knew more than the teachers. And when I was in the gifted and talented program, I wanted to do more robotics, and yet they gave me other crap to do. And it was so I've been failed by the system. There were chances to maybe get me on a proper path, and they fucked it. So here I am in my pajamas on the internet. Where am I up to? First time I listened to All That Remains, I put down the guitar and taught myself how to scream. What made me want to scream? Repressed rage, probably. Look, what made me want to scream? That is kind of a deep thing, and it's a lot to get into, and has to do with some of my mental health issues as well. But being a small female, being quiet for most of my life, and then having some more violent things going on in my mind. This is why I would rather scream like a demon as opposed to the more emo way that a lot of people scream. I'm not here to scream in pain. I'm here to scream as in I'm going to fuck you up. I think what made me think that I actually could scream, because before I started doing the full-on false chord, I was sort of copying a bit more of the Disturbed style of screaming, or trying to replicate that where it's pitched screaming. What made me realize I could do the more full-on demonic screaming, I think was I living with my ex, or just, I don't know at what stage, but he showed me Arch Enemy and was like, oh, look, this chick screams like a dude. And then I'm like, oh, okay, so that's actually possible. And yeah, I think that's the point where I was like, okay, it's on, it's fucking on. And she actually had a tutorial, which is not a very good tutorial, but it got me started. So that was Angela way back. Quiet Shepherd. College was a 1-semester disaster for me. Miserable, cutting classes after about 2 weeks. Yeah. I think, especially at my school, they only really told, because I was like a top student, they only really told me that university was an option. And I didn't even know that there were other options. I didn't even know what the university courses meant either. I had the book, they gave you a book full of like every course, and I would read the courses and they were so boring. But in hindsight, I realized like the language they use is to sound professional, and they don't actually tell you what the jobs involve. So there's a lot of things that it just, and then, you know, even when I finally got out of retail and I did a bit more office style work and I was called a samples coordinator, I was just the mailroom chick. I was getting fabric samples and sticking in an envelope, sending them off, and putting in the system that I'd sent them off. Like, coordinator, there's such fancy bullshit language. And like, you know, I didn't know that. So when they're saying all these different things, it just didn't communicate to me what these jobs actually were and gave me no interest in anything whatsoever. I mean, I was already mentally ill by then, I just didn't know it. But yeah, they really sucked at giving me an idea of what I might do with myself. Drunk on that night. Best learning is learning how to drink. I gotta tell you, the critical drinker was a lot funnier when he pretended to be drunk in his videos, whereas now he just sounds cranky. When he used to like intentionally slur his words and make a lot more drinking jokes, that was a lot more fun. Girls' school, so your electronics was sewing machines. Yeah, and one of my friends accidentally sewed through her fingernail, and like I remember, I think I must have jumped all the way across the fucking room when that happened, because my brain knew what had happened before I consciously knew what had happened. And yeah, and it's like, okay, sewing machine, bit scary now. And also with those sewing classes, right, I, you know, like I went through school not realizing I could ask my parents for anything. And I also grew up with them making me think we were poor, which, like, now I look at it and I'm like, we've lived in a decent house and, you know, in a decent suburb, and like, so I didn't know I could ask my parents to buy me nicer fabric, and I just used the fabric the school had, which was just calico, which is super cheap. And you know, one of my teachers helped me tie dye it rather than just have a straight calico bag, because like I didn't know that I could go and buy better fabrics for this stuff. So all the other kids had fancy fabrics, and I just had yeah, the cheap stuff that the school had. And there's so many things where I just didn't know I could ask for any kind of help. So yeah, there's a lot of ways that school didn't work out for me. AI and robots can't get drunk. Take me drunk, I'm home. Why don't you go back and do a PhD? Oh God, no. I know people who've done PhDs. PhDs, it sounds like hell. Like doing the masters, coursework masters was fine because it's like undergrad, you do the work. There's a bit more freedom, and then you're done. With a PhD, like you have to go through so much bullshit, and it just, you have to be really interested in what you're doing. And I am not able to hold any particular interest with that strength to be able to get through a PhD. I think, like, you know, someone who has an autistic special interest, perfect for a PhD. And if you don't qualify for a science one, try and do one in the arts instead. Like, yeah, I don't have that level of interest in anything. Any good at percussion instruments? I do have a drum kit. I think I've got a video somewhere on my channel about my drum kit. I don't play very well. I did try learning. I did a few lessons with like a kid locally who was just getting started trying to teach, and yeah, got the basics. But really, like, once I understood the basics, that helped me write drums, because before then I didn't really understand how drums, just how to write them. And so with a lot of things, if I learn at least the basics of an instrument, it helps me write for them. So I also learned basics of like guitar and bass, mainly guitar, which then I transferred to bass. But yeah, just learning some of the basic stuff, then I can go into software and, you know, program shit. Doctor No, what about Master? This is like Doctor Who and the Master. They're based on academic degrees, and the Master is the evil one, and I identify a little bit more with that. Sew a blanket, but stitch 60 pentagram and burn it. I've got my own blankets. I've got my own blankets. You can buy them on my shop. Where is my shop? I'll put the link because it's cold here, and like I've got on my bed at the moment. I love my fluffy blanket. There we go. I need to like update this with a photo of like when I unboxed it, but here's the blanket in the chat. Rice bolognese. What the hell is wrong? No, rice. It's good. It's good. It's easy. You know, being half Asian, we always have rice around. We've got a proper Japanese rice cooker. When I was living with my ex, we had an Aussie rice cooker, like I think it was a Breville or something. It was the worst. Like, that was not what I call a rice cooker. And it was so annoying to clean and it didn't make good rice. No, you need Tiger brand. Good Japanese Tiger rice cooker. And if you have to go to Japan to get one, then that's what we used to do. I think you can probably get them now. But yeah, no, rice. And you just keep some rice aside and you got your sauce and you just put it together. Rather than, I don't know, it's easy. Pasta. And the thing is, like, when you make pasta and then you put the leftovers in a container and you put it in the fridge, right? Then the pasta starts sticking. And like it's really hard to just get the amount of like it's mainly spaghetti. It's really hard to get the amount of spaghetti you want out of that container without taking too much, and it's all tangled and it doesn't want to come loose. With rice are just these little grains. It's so much easier to just get the amount that you want and stick it in the microwave with some bolognese. I call it mince rice, but you know, if I said mince rice, the internet wouldn't know what I was talking about. So rice bolognese it is, and it's good. You get your rice, you get your meaty goodness, and in my case, with all the veggies in it as well, it's an easy meal. So yeah. Where am I up to? Wow, I'm so tired. But yeah, no, this is much more chill than the vertical live streams, hey. Been cut off with 6 ads so far. Yeah, no, they do send me some money. 6 ads. How long have we been going for? I don't know. I'm pretty sure I set it to medium. But what YouTube interprets as medium, I don't know. I think there's a way that I can manually put in it. Oh yeah, when I'm doing it like this, there's a thing that says insert ad, or there's one that says delay ads, but it doesn't actually tell me when an ad's gonna play. Oh, create highlight video. Add stream marker. I don't know what that means. And share. Those are the buttons that I've got. Yeah, better than vertical. Yeah, vertical. Like, the vertical is an interesting challenge. It's kind of like playing a video game where you need to try and like knock down as many chats as you can as fast as you can, but it means that you don't get to go into anything in depth. Like, I've just gone on a whole rant about my education history. Which you just can't do in those verticals. Every 10 minutes I get 2 ads. Oh yeah, Molly Spoon and Depop. Well, the only ads that I've banned from my channel, I think, are gambling ads. So if you ever see a gambling ad on my channel, let me know and I can check whether or not they've like taken that off. Because yeah, we don't need that shit. I'm waiting to see if the government actually does anything. I think they've got legislation, but I mean, you know, so much legislation is just not perfect. So then there's an argument about, do we do anything at all and just accept imperfect, or do we go back to like the normal thing? And some of the stuff I've read about the current, you know, gambling ad legislation, I'm a bit like, I'm not sure what's better here. Gambling is good for the soul. Oh my god. Oh dear. No, like gambling, like I haven't banned alcohol ads. And, you know, like, at least with alcohol, I know some people have alcohol problems, but there are other people who, like, you know, it's not that bad for them. They can enjoy it. And like, I don't drink alcohol, so I don't understand it. But, you know, it's a physical product. And it helps some people socialize. So, like, okay, I'll let those ads go. I think these are, like, you know, these are in the most controversial categories when they give you, like, what ads will you allow on your channel? And gambling is the other one. Those are the 2 that, like, I think are at the top of their list of, you know, whatever. The thing about gambling, though, is there's no actual product. And with gambling, you know, you almost always lose your money. A meaningful win is rare. And it's just designed to suck money from you. Like, at least alcohol, there's a product you get. With gambling, all your money is gone. And it causes so much chaos to people. Like, I know alcohol does as well, but gambling, like, has nothing productive out of it. Um, I just, like what? Oh, it funds sport, and if we get rid of gambling ads, the sports people will struggle. But like that was what we said with cigarettes as well, and we banned cigarette advertising, and the sports they just went to gambling instead. Yeah, no, like, the amount of shit that gambling fucks up, and like it's not like the thing about alcohol is like if you get yourself blind drunk, you're mostly going to affect yourself. You might get into some dumb fight. There is a bit of domestic violence involved. But it mostly you are the one who gets fucked up for your choices. With gambling, you get fucked up, but also like everyone around you, because you've stolen. A lot of these people who have the gambling addictions, they steal from others, they steal from businesses that they work for, and it affects like so much. I don't want that on my channel, running on my channel. From experience, alcohol is easily the hardest addiction to kick. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna I don't really want to I don't want to pit addictions against each other, because everyone has different experiences of things, and I'm not going to pretend I know what it's like for every single person. I just feel like, because gambling doesn't produce anything productive and it just fucks up everything. I'm like, no, I'm not going to run it. But alcohol, like, I can understand for some people it's not that, it's like, it's manageable, and they have a physical product instead of just being designed to addict. Like, gambling is just designed to addict you and take your money. Alcohol, yeah, some people enjoy it and it helps them socialize. Okay. They're both fun. Oh my god. Hate gambling ads. Yeah, the gambling ads are also really awful. I mean, I haven't seen too many alcohol ads for a while. But there was that one, the big ad. That one was actually kind of like fun. The tongue ad was terrible, but the big ad was like fun. The gambling ones, like, oh, fucking, oh, they're terrible. They're so awful. I'm not even going to say any names because I don't want to name anyone and give them publicity. Moderation is key. Yay, drunk puppy, it is. Video games? What are we talking about? Video games. Video games these days are starting to get more like gambling, because they realize, like, especially the free-to-play ones, where then they, like, they have, not even, I mean, I don't play games that much, but I know with even some of the paid ones, they have things where, like, you get loot crates or something, and you don't know what's in them, so that's, like, a form of gambling, and, like, that sucks too. At least, like, in early Pokemon games, they did have slot machines, but you could always save the game before you played it, so then if you lost all your money, instead of winning it, you just turn it off and start again. That's what I used to do with the slot machines. Like, if it's a slot machine where I can't save my progress beforehand, I'm not playing. And they were a bit tedious. I think later on in Pokemon, I don't remember when I stopped playing, but later on I noticed they changed the games. And it's probably because they had criticism. Like, gambling seems to be a little bit more permissible in Japan, or at least it was back then, because they all go and play pachinko. But yeah, I think probably once Pokemon became more of a hit, they would have gotten criticism for having that gambling aspect in it. And so then they started doing more like games of a little bit more skill. And they were actually more fun to play than just the slot machine and just trying to press a button at the right time. How boring. But yeah, these days they've really put a lot more addictive shit in some video games, and I think that's crap. And like, Stop Killing Games, I think, is doing good work, along with all the Clippies of the world. I don't like the way, like, I'm not playing games much, but when I see what's going on in the gaming world, and especially with, like, some of the multiplayer ones, I mean, I've never been interested in multiplayer ones, but what they're doing with it is just bullshit, and not letting people have private servers and trying to control how long their games exist for. And, like, even these days, you have to activate stuff. Like, the first time that I bought a disc, only to find I had to activate it on Steam, it was like, what is this bullshit? All the disc did was save me having to download the entire thing from the internet back then. But, I miss, like, just putting something in and it just works. Or you put a code from the back of the packet and it just works, instead of having to connect to the internet just to activate something I already paid for. Yeah, old school games, you know, I get why they do it. They don't want us playing old school games because then they can't sell us more. Gambling in Pokemon wasn't removed, it just turned into more of a puzzle game, less like yeah. Like, I know there's still chance involved, but it's less blatantly gambling. The only gaming you've done is play with oh, I love the drunk puppy. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. The point was Game Corner was owned by Team Rocket, and Team Rocket is oh, okay, yeah. The kids got the point, but the parents didn't. It was the parents demanded the change. Yeah. Team Rocket's rocket, talking trouble. Big trouble's gonna follow you. Found! Hello! Yeah, I'm streaming horizontally because I'm not feeling too well. I also had my shower today. I did my cleaning today because we're gonna meet Puppy tomorrow. Not drunk Puppy, we're meeting our new puppy, who's gonna be a Japanese Spitz named Sky. Pokemon! Da-na-na-na-na-na-na, I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. Bim, bim, bim. Catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Banana, Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em, it's you and me. I know it's my destiny, Pokemon. Oh, you're my best friend. In a world we must defend. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em, a heart so true. Our courage will pull us through. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Pokemon. Yeah, Puppy coming. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Physical media. Video game corporations want us pay more money. That's why they want to phase up physical games. Hollywood wants to get rid of DVD and Blu-rays too. Yeah. I'm gonna be sad, but like, I have generally been low-key anti-piracy in my life. Like, I believe in paying for things, paying for products that I value. That's why, like, most of my collection is CDs and like physical media. But if we're getting to a stage where you can't buy things and they're trying to, like, the shit Sony did with just removing everyone's collections, and I know with, like, they're getting rid of physical CDs altogether, but like back with PlayStation 4 they had some ad where they were making fun of, maybe it was Microsoft, I don't know, where to share a game you just handed over the disc, and now they've gotten rid of it, and it's like, gee, that aged well, guys. Where are your fucking principles? But yeah, no, this is where capitalism goes wrong. Like, capitalism does a lot of good shit, but when it reaches this stage of excess without appropriate regulation, that's when it becomes too much. And it is getting to the point with when it comes to piracy. If buying isn't owning, piracy isn't stealing. Like, we are getting to that point, and we might already be there in some situations. So, I've said before, when Netflix wasn't in Australia yet, Australia was some of the biggest pirates globally, because, like, with this whole region blocking thing they had with DVDs, it's just like, especially once the internet is a thing, good luck to you. Doesn't make sense to, like, delay things here. Maybe like way back when it took a while to actually ship discs here, maybe, but no, it just doesn't make sense to have different release dates and, have all these region blocked discs. But yeah, Aussies used to pirate a lot, and then they would try and get VPNs to be able to access Netflix overseas. And then Netflix came here, and piracy, I think, did drop off because people were finally paying for legit Netflix because that's what they wanted. But when the companies don't give people what they want, they'll find alternatives. People want to pay for stuff in a lot of cases. But if they can't, they will pirate. It's kind of stupid. Johto series? Pokemon Johto? Oh, it's been such a while. Everybody wants to be a master. Everybody wants to show their skills. Everybody wants to get there faster. Make a way to the top of the hill. Da 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 da. Ba 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 ba. Na 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 na. Now one more step up the ladder. It's a whole new world we live in. It's a whole new way to see. It's a whole new place with a brand new attitude, but you still gotta catch 'em all. Be the best you can be. Pokemon Johto. I don't know. I don't know if I'm singing the TV version because I mainly like, I do have a set of like season 1 of Pokemon somewhere. I don't have one of season 2, but I do have the second Pokemon movie, Pokemon 2000 with Lugia. And that's the version I know the most because I've watched that a bit. Where are you up to? Feed alcohol. Drunk puppy. Let's not trust you with any actual puppies. Goodness me. Pokemon. Pokemon's the great cover. Yay. Found. I know, right? I just got a trading 212 advert stock exchange. Does that count as gambling? I mean, like, technically it's not gambling, but it is gambling. I don't know. I'll have to see if I can turn off funky financial ads because it's probably a different category. Enjoy piracy very much. Oh my goodness. Isn't it annoying that you get a streaming subscription to avoid ads and they start playing ads on the streaming service? I think didn't Amazon do that? And then Australia's like, you can't change the terms of the contract like that. You can't just unilaterally do that. In Australia, this is the thing about, when people complain about capitalism, they usually mean American capitalism. I have to say, like, a lot of things, same with like cops in America are way worse than cops in Australia. And yeah, like with contracts in America, like it seems like these companies can get away with these dodgy contracts that just break the whole concept of what a contract is. Because if one party can change the contract at any moment, it's not really a contract anymore, is it? It's just them saying, you'll do what we tell you. Australia's like, no, you sold this product, you have to deliver on it or provide compensation. And yeah, we generally have better consumer law than America seems to. And we have a lot of better laws in a lot of other areas. But America is really built on like this extreme form of capitalism, which I'm not a fan of. I prefer Australia's more moderated capitalism. There's still aspects that are not great, but it's so much better than America. So yeah, a bit more balanced. Like capitalism's not a great system, but it's better than pretty much every other system. Same with like democracy. It sucks, but it's better than every other system. But the thing is, when you talk about capitalism or democracy, there are a lot of ways to actually do it, a lot of like subcategories. And I think we do it better than America in both cases. And yeah, where are we? Amazon stopped ads. Netflix still does it. Does it? I don't watch Netflix, so I don't pay attention. But I think the problem with Amazon is like, they introduced ads for people who had paid up front for an ad-free service. So those people were in their rights to say, no, we're not paying more to get rid of the ads. What Amazon should have done is grandfathered their contract until the end of that payment period. So if they'd done it for a year, they should get a year of no ads. And then after that, Amazon can increase the price. But they tried to do it mid-payment period, after these things have been prepaid, I think, in some cases. And so they did it in the middle of the period, and that's where the problem was with consumer law. Corporate greed just gets worse every year, especially in America. Glad I'm not in the US, though. The place is messed up, yeah. Amazon stopped ads. I don't think they did. I think it's just like that for that particular tier, they had to, fix their shit. Can you choose which ads appear? Put fun ones. I can't choose what ads appear on my channel. I can deny certain categories. And I think it's easier to deny the like more restricted, like, they have categories of ads, and I can just say, I don't want these really extreme kinds of ones. So that's how I got rid of gambling ones, hopefully. Originally cable was free, then they started charging for it, even though it had ads. Oh, really? I know in Australia, like when we first got Foxtel, which I think is our equivalent of cable TV, originally Foxtel, you had to pay for Foxtel, but there were no ads. And then they started to bring ads into Foxtel, but Foxtel at least was playing shows that you couldn't get anywhere else before Netflix turned up. Once Netflix turned up, Foxtel's like, I don't even know if it still exists. Still get ads on Amazon Prime. Yeah, I think they had different tiers on Amazon Prime to get rid of the ads, and that was the problem. So people had paid for ad-free Amazon, and then Amazon's like, oh no, we're going to give you ads now unless you pay extra. But if people were in the middle, like they had already agreed, we're not getting ads for this whole year. And yeah, in the US, we've gone full circle from cable. Yes, this was linear analog TV. Okay, I'm not hip with the terminology. I just know in Australia we used to only have free to air, which like went over the airwaves, you needed an antenna. And then Foxtel came along, then you needed a cable. And yeah, when that first came to Australia, there were no ads, and then there were ads. And it's the same with, I guess, streaming. The thing with streaming, like when Netflix first came to Australia, it was this huge revolution because you could access just about anything for one subscription. But as more streaming services popped up, because like, other studios have decided, oh, we're going to make Disney Plus and take Disney off every other platform, and now you can only watch Disney stuff on Disney's one. And as more companies have decided to do that, the streaming landscape has become fractured. So then, of course, the audience becomes fractured, and then everyone gets less of the pie, and they all want more of the pie. And it's just become shit from the competition in that sense. Like, competition in the streaming landscape didn't improve the product. It actually made every single product worse, and no one is really innovating in any way. So yeah, it's just decayed. Linear, not streaming, and not on demand. Okay. Okay, I don't know if but that might be what we called free to air. I'm not sure. I mean, Foxtel wasn't on demand. It was just like a different way of having extra channels. Maybe I don't know how it was done in the US. Like, we had heard of cable TV but never really known what that was, or I definitely didn't when I was a kid, and didn't get interested to find out as an adult. But yeah, the streaming services started good, but then just became crap. And it's kind of a weird thing. Sky is like my country's version of Foxtel. My dad refuses to use stream services, but I don't blame him. He's a boomer. Well, I don't use streaming services. I mean, I guess YouTube counts as kind of a form of streaming, but I don't watch movies. I just watch random bullshit. I prefer physical media. My parents watch streaming. So actually, my parents, who are more that boomer generation, they actually use more tech than me. Like, I have better tech in terms of my computer is much better than anything they've got, but I don't actually use that much tech. Like, they've got so many apps. They have like their cards on the phone. I still use a physical card. So actually, the boomers are doing all right, at least in my house. I like Tubi. It has ads, but it's free. Okay, I'm not familiar. Remember cable in Ireland? We just bribed the installer technician to get it for free. Oh dear. Yeah, no, I've never really paid attention. We did have Foxtel when we were kids, and that's how I watched things like, I don't know, probably Yu-Gi-Oh!, The Pretender. What else? They had a bunch of stuff on there. Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon. That's actually how I got into Linkin Park, because before Neon Genesis, they would play Points of Authority, the remix version, or was Points of Authority yeah, anyway. And they had like all the mechas flying around in the music video and the disembodied heads, and it's like, what's that? And then I saw the thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy that CD. And as a result, I only know the Reanimation version of Hybrid Theory. And anytime someone plays a Hybrid Theory song that's not remixed, my brain gets so confused. I didn't even know they were remixes back then because I hadn't paid attention. I didn't even know what Linkin Park was. So yeah. Why pay for corporate thing when I can illegal stream it for free? I mean, like, I'm a bit old-fashioned, I guess, and I like to pay for things to encourage, the creators to do more of the same thing that I like. And sort of an appreciation thing. But yeah, with some of the corporate stuff, they are there's a lot of companies that have lost me, and I have been meaning to make videos on that, although some of it'll be outdated, but I can still say what happened and why I don't like it. I just think there's a hard time learning tech, which is crazy because he's really intelligent. He still thinks the TV is broken, but he just needs to change it from HDMI 2 to 1. Oh gosh, when my white grandpa was still alive, someone gave him an iPhone, and I was the one who had to teach him to use the iPhone. I didn't even have a smartphone myself at that time. Um, yeah. No, he knew how to use a BlackBerry, and he was pretty good with other things, but yeah, that sucked. When I watch linear TV, I like to use the DVR feature and record it from the beginning and start watching 8 minutes after it started airing. Well, we used to record things on VHS, especially like I think on Channel 10 there was Cheese TV, and they used to play things like Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, but we would have to get to school and not be able to watch it. So we would record it on the VHS, come home, and then watch it in the afternoon. Um, that was a good time. And then you can skip the ads too, just fast forward through them. Yeah, no, Dragon Ball Z, that was a long time ago. And yeah, old school Pokemon, Team Rocket constantly blasting off again. Just copped a beer. Yeah, no, I haven't banned alcohol ads, but I think I don't know, there might be a way for you to stop YouTube showing you. I'm not really sure. Still got my VH. Oh, you've still got your tapes and VCR. Holy shit. I don't know if we have any of that stuff. We've probably even lost my old ballet video by now, but it was pretty like the last time I saw my old ballet video when I was like really tiny, it was so degraded, so it's probably long dead anyway. My policy is that if I'm paying for Netflix, I'm still paying the company money, so I don't think it's wrong to pirate the shows that you're already paying for on Netflix. I do have like a ripped copy of something that I've also got the DVD from. I don't remember why, but yeah, sometimes, especially like, oh, I still haven't told the story of my computer, but my current computer does not have an optical drive. I have to plug another one in, and it was making buzzing. And before I got my Blu-ray player, my standalone Blu-ray player is such a pain in the ass. I think maybe that's why I got that other copy, was just so I didn't have to put it in my computer and go through all that, because Dell broke my old Alienware, by the way. They had to give me a new one, and yeah, it doesn't have an optical drive. It's so much better, but it doesn't have the optical drive, which was so fucking annoying. Just to avoid seeing ads. Oh, because they're showing you ads on Netflix? My brother does this thingy where he takes the videos off the VHS and downloads them, then he restores the quality. Okay, that's interesting. You still have yours as well. They have a great point. Netflix, Amazon, etc. keep removing movies. We should be able to copy them and save them somehow. That's one of the frustrating things about streaming, is they do keep, like, because they're licensing them, they take things off when you're like halfway through watching it. That happened to me when I tried to watch Netflix, and I tried to watch Yu-Gi-Oh, but I'm a bit slow watching, and I didn't even get that far, and then suddenly it was all gone except for like season 3, which was the worst one. Yeah, so I've decided, you know what, the next time I see a box set for Yu-Gi-Oh out and about, I'm just gonna buy it. I'm sure they'll do an anniversary or something at some point, and I'll just buy the fucking box set. I should have done it the first time I saw the box set, but at the time I wasn't financially secure in my mind. I probably had the money, but it's taken a while for me to decide I'm financially secure and can afford that kind of thing. So yeah, the next time I see that, I'll go and grab it. I hopefully won't have to go secondhand, but I'll do secondhand if I feel like that's the only way. But yeah, the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Fucking Netflix. That's when I tried watching Netflix, and they did that to me, and I'm like, it's not worth it to me. I can't be bothered. My mom can binge watch. I cannot. I lost the ability to binge watch maybe 10 years ago, going through like that really bad, really long depression, and just sort of ending up on YouTube instead. Yeah. Ever since then, I don't think I've been able to binge watch. Yeah, so I don't know. The state of everything, though, in the world right now is kind of pissing me off. Season 1 is the only really for Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, I don't remember all the seasons, but there were some other interesting things that went on, and with some of the other characters. It does get a bit weird as it goes on. I think stopping at 5 seasons was a good idea, and I don't know if I haven't really watched the rest of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like the spin-offs afterwards, because it kind of like, if it's not Yugi anymore, what's the point? Whoa, playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Is so complicated now. Oh, yeah, I did when I was living with my ex, we tried, I think we ended up playing Magic the Gathering, but I tried teaching him Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I did play some Yu-Gi-Oh! At the game center near him, and it was all kids, and then there were, like, these black and white cards, and I just was like, "I don't even know what this is," and it's changed so much. So, yeah, I ended up playing Magic the Gathering instead. But the number of nerds, and like, they all play the same strategy because some top player came up with this strategy, so then everyone is playing the same stuff. It's so boring playing the same decks over and over and over. So yeah, lost interest. Also, that was back with Dark Ascension when they had vampires and shit. And then the next one was Angels, and it was okay, but then after that it went to something else and I lost interest because like I was more interested in particular theme rather than, yeah, Magic the Gathering as a whole. um Thoughts on British comedy? Not me, I'm not funny. I don't know, like, it depends. With a lot of comedy, it depends for me. I mean, like, some of the Aussie comedy that, like, especially the stuff that the ABC thinks is funny, I'm just like, Hard Quiz? He's fun. What is it? Tom on Hard Quiz. He's fun, but some of the ones that they put, like, I'm just like, why do people think this is funny? Um, I love that guy on the 1% show. Oh, Jim Jeffries, or is it like British 1% show? I know there's a British one as well. Monty Python and Benny Hill. Monty Python, yeah, they've got some classics. Monty Python have some classics that you couldn't make now or couldn't make easily. It would be very controversial now, but they got in early. Oh, both versions. Okay. Yeah, I haven't actually watched it. I just, every now and then they play an ad where they show something and then they show someone's terrible answer. And it's like, all right. But yeah, I haven't been interested in watching any of that stuff. I don't really watch much. Especially not like, free to air. I pretty much just watch a bit of the news because my parents have it on when we have dinner, and we sort of insist on eating dinner as a family, even though we don't actually talk. But mum likes to cook dinner, so it makes sense to eat at the same time, I guess. Just, yeah, the news is on Channel 7 news, followed by the ABC news, and the ABC kind of just, does what Channel 7 already covered, but a bit more seriously and without the fluff. I don't even pay attention a lot of the time anymore because it's just too much. Half the stories are just like, oh, Trump said this again, which is the same thing he said last week, and it didn't actually happen, and he's saying it again. I don't fucking care. I used to watch it in prison since there isn't much to do in there. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. My life is a prison. I haven't been to actual prison. Red Dwarf and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I haven't watched those. British. I used to watch Robot Wars way back, and that apparently had the Red Dwarf guy in it. Roboteers, stand by. That's one of the things I wanted to do. And like I had the magazines that like talked about how they constructed them, but I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know where to get the materials. School could have helped me with that. Gifted and talented program. But no, they didn't give a shit about what I was actually interested in. They just made me do all this other bullshit and made me just not interested in it. Remember your love is super awesome. Fuck depression. Silly self is more powerful. Smoking. Oh, drunk puppy, you're so cute. I've got more crazy shorts coming. So we've already had the blueberry one, and we've had the Bohemian Too Many of Me. Angry Drunk for real. Red Dwarf. Futurama copied a lot of it. Oh, okay. I've watched a bit of Futurama, but not a lot. Yeah, I'm not very culturally informed. I'm like, what did I do? I read Animorphs, I have the entire set of Animorphs behind me here. Which, yeah, that's a good series. I used to do a lot of reading, and I've gotten back into reading. Hey! Please don't do that shit. Just gonna have to ban that person. They're gonna pop up in this thing, and you can see what they wrote, but we don't need that. Yeah. The map thing, gross. What have I been reading? Darker Days. Apparently it's like a Dutch author, and I think it's been translated into English. And apparently his last book was translated into English, but then they tried to make it like change the setting from the Netherlands to America. And it's like, why would you do that? Just keep it set in the Netherlands. Like, we're not fucking stupid, or maybe Americans are, but the rest of the English speaking world can read it and get along with it. But this one is actually originally set in America, and so it was easier for them to translate, I guess. Apparently fans of this guy are upset about that, but it's fine. I'm enjoying it. It's creepy, but I didn't even understand what they meant. Oh, so this whole map thing, it's like about pedos. They they have a club and they try and, like, that's what I understand of it. I'm not going to platform that. There was a thing way back where people were talking about like virtuous pedophiles, and that caused a lot of controversy. I don't know if it's related to that, but like the pride thing, I think virtuous pedophiles, they're like non-offending pedophiles, because pedophile is technically a description of what they're attracted to. It's not necessarily that they have definitely offended. I think it might have grown out of that, but I'm not sure. It's not part of. We'll get rid of that person as well if they're gonna spam me. I think they're not actually legit. I think these are bots. And like when they start mentioning the LGBT thing, I think they might be trolls who are trying to make LGBT look bad, because LGBT don't accept this shit. Yeah, it's fucking weird. But the thing with the virtuous pedophiles, when that was a thing, they were people who were non-offending. And the one interesting point that I remember them bringing up is when they go to therapy, because they know it's wrong, they know it's not good, and they know they can't, like, they don't want to offend, but there was an interview with one of them saying when they go to therapy, if they mention it to the psychologist, I don't know which country this is, but the psychologists were legally obligated to report them, even though they hadn't done anything. So it makes them really hard for them to get help for their issues. So that was an interesting thing. But this is like trying to act like it's okay, which is not. Assuming this is even legit, because if there's two of them now trying to spam me, that makes me think it's some kind of bot thing and some kind of anti-LGBT, whatever thing. Definitely trolls pretend. Yeah, I think they probably are. But there would be some people who genuinely think it's like a pride thing. Whereas, yeah, the virtuous pedophile, back when they were trying to argue like we have this support group, and it was controversial. I think they should not have used the word virtuous. I think they should have said like non-offending, or maybe don't even use pedophile, but that's what they try with MAP. I think MAP stands for like minor attracted person. It's trying to sanitize it, which is gross. I think it should be something more like pedophile disorder or something like that. Call it a disorder, because that's what it is. People who are attracted to kids, they are not right in the head. They need help to be treated for that condition and not become this kind of gross thing. Wanted in the community because they feel oppressed. We said fucking, yeah. It's a really fucked up situation. I think society needs to recognize they need psychological help, maybe some medical help, like to bring down the libido, or I don't know, it's complicated. I think they need ways to find help. Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. I don't know why they're suddenly spamming me. It's not like I said anything before about it. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep blocking. Anyone comes here saying map, don't make me fucking put it in the restricted words list. Be locked up. Look, the thing is, if if it's someone who's recognized they have that feeling and they know it's it causes distress to some of them, and if it causes them distress and they have enough self-awareness to realize that it is not right, and they go and get treatment to try and overcome it and get into a more healthy state, I think that is what should happen, rather than this bullshit that's popping up spamming me. I think there's probably someone who's I don't know if they're making new accounts, so we'll just wait for the next one and I'll be ready to fucking block them. Or you know what I can do is I can also get rid of, where's my overlay? I can just get rid of the overlay. There you go. Now you fucking can't have a platform. We don't need the overlay anyway. So the next one that pops up, they're not going to be on the fucking screen. Definitely need to be locked up if they don't seek help. Yeah. The thing is, you need to give them an avenue to seek help. So when they go to their psychologist and they say they have this problem, instead of going straight to the cops, it should be, okay, we need a management plan, we need a treatment plan, probably need some medical help, because it seems to me I haven't really looked into it, but it seems like one of those things that's really hard to properly treat. So they need some serious strategies. Some of that might be being admitted to a mental hospital. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm just if they're gonna spam me, I'm just gonna get rid of this thing, because I don't need them to burn themselves into my video. I could probably come back later and blur it, but the way YouTube blurring works, I don't know if it can track it. Track it as it goes up the screen, because it moves. So that might be a bit more effort than it's worth. But the reason it's interesting that they popped up today, because I was actually thinking about it earlier, because there's an ad on Channel 7 where they're talking about pilots who do the murder-suicide thing. They intentionally crash the plane. And, obviously Channel 7 is trying to make it sensationalist. It's disgusting. But I can't remember, one of my parents might have said something, or not kamikaze. No, these are commercial airline pilots who are suicidal for whatever reason, maybe angry, and they decide to kill an entire plane full of passengers by crashing. The thing is, one of the air crashes, my parents know I used to watch a lot of air crash investigation. One of the problems in terms of depressed pilots coming forward for help is if they come forward for help and say, I'm depressed, or at least back then, I don't know if it's changed. Yeah, it's fucking dark. If they came forward to say, I have depression, I'm thinking of killing myself, maybe they'll go away if we talk about a different subject. The thing is, I wasn't talking about them, and they started popping up. So yeah, I think someone just decided to randomly target my channel, and I'm just not going to have this popping up until probably for the rest of the stream, because I can't trust that they'll be back. We've only got about 11 minutes anyway. But in terms of the pilot thing, hopefully this has changed. But in the air crash investigation, one of the things I watched, they were saying, if a pilot comes forward saying, I have depression and I'm suicidal, they will have their piloting license or whatever stripped. They won't be allowed to fly. It ruins their career. So what do? They don't admit to it. And it's a similar thing. If someone knows they have a problem and they come forward for help, instead of immediately punishing them, you need to make it safe for them to come forward to get the help. And, if they can overcome that depression, they shouldn't be blacklisted. If they do the work and, obviously you want them to prove that they've recovered and they're not going to crash the plane full of people. But, you also just can't. It is sad. It's so fucking sad. They'll have some of them, they know that they can't come forward, or they'll lose their careers, and it's just not the right way to do it. I think though, there was at least one program that was helping pilots going through that, because it is a stressful job. You're in charge of so many lives. Airplane travel is really safe. It's so much more safe than just driving a car. the joke is that you're more at risk of death driving to the airport than you are at risk of death on the plane, because things are just that safe now. But yeah, I think there was at least one program that was allowing pilots to come forward with their mental health issues to get support, and then they didn't get to that stage of crashing the plane full of people. So yeah, in the top, I'm not going to mention that topic of those spammers before, just in case that is triggering them, because like, yeah, maybe because I reacted to the first one, that's what triggered the other two to come up. But with that other topic, if someone recognizes they have a problem and it's something serious and dark, like crashing the plane or like being interested in a vulnerable group in that way, people who recognize it's a problem, they need to feel safe to come forward so they can get help. Because if they don't get help, what the problem with like the stuff that was popping up here is, if they don't get help, if they don't feel they can come forward to help, guess who are the only group who are going to support them? It's other people who are into that. And so then they get into an echo chamber. That echo chamber convinces them it's okay, convinces them to have this movement, if that's even legit and it's not just trolls or whatever. So then they start to think, maybe it's not so bad. So instead of getting support to fix that fucked up problem they have, they get sucked into this world where now they're doing the bad thing that they're not supposed to do. Like, it flips them. And this is the thing also with there's Life After Hate. I don't know if that's still around. I hope it's still around. I remember watching like Sam B had a talk, like late night show at some point, and this whole thing of like, okay, neo-Nazis, the temptation is to just go and punch them in the face. Like, you see a lot of activists who will get in their face, yell horrible things at them and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people who get into that movement, they get sucked in because their lives were difficult. No one gave them support. Guess who gave them support? Fucked up group we don't want them associating with. So if you can get to them before that, or if they're trying to leave, some people struggle to leave these groups. Same with like cults and things. They feel like they're trapped in this group, and that group are the only people who will support them. So it makes it hard for them to escape and to get into like normal life and be rehabilitated as a member of society who can actually be productive and kind and all that. Some of the coolest stories when it comes to racism is like when there was that black preacher. I fucking can't remember his name. But like, I think the neo-Nazis or the KKK or whatever came up to his church and like set things on fire. And instead of being pissed off, he just, treated them the way that Christians pretend they're going to treat, he actually did that full on thing and ended up changing the minds of some of these neo-Nazis. Yeah, you know who I mean. Like, his story is epic. I think there's been at least 2 of them who did similar things, though, so I might be mixing up stories. But, like, not everyone can do that. It's a lot to ask. But the people who can do that and, show people that there's another way, like, that's some hardcore stuff. But the way, like, if this is the thing about, like, arguing on the internet, it is amazing. If you've ever argued with someone on the internet, though, like, if you just tell them that they're an idiot, they tend to double down. And a lot of arguments, even if you give them evidence, they tend to double down. But the way to, bring someone around to your side is to focus more on what you agree on. Really hard to do. Really hard to do sometimes. But if you focus more on what you agree on and, like, show that you're like a normal person instead of just like the extreme talking points will never listen to each other, never break through to each other. But yeah, no, I didn't mean to get into like social psychology, but the FBI uses former members of hate groups to infiltrate other active and possibly dangerous hate groups. Okay, I don't know much about that, but with Life After Hate, they were a support group for people leaving the far-right neo-Nazi groups. And there were some really interesting interviews back then when I came across them. I think they're still a thing, but I sort of lost track. As someone who's the biracial, I can feel so hard when one side is hating on the other, especially when you love both. Yeah, I mean, I'm a half Japanese Aussie, and I haven't had any problems, but like, Mum is nervous about RSLs because some of the World War II vets can't seem to accept that Australia and Japan made peace quite some time ago. When she first came here, she copped shit for it. but yeah, no, it's kind of like when you the countries that you're biracial of have been at war, that's a weird feeling as well. Doesn't affect me too much, I don't think. I mean, I look white, although, like, when I was a kid, if people realized that I was like, because my name gives me away. They're like, "Where's that name from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I have to say, oh, my mom's Japanese." And then they start looking like, "Oh, yeah, your eyes a bit, or maybe the nose." And it's just like, when I was a kid, I didn't know that that was rude, so I was just like, Yeah, okay." But in hindsight, like, wow, my appearance was really deconstructed. It was fucking like, it was, yeah, all right. Maori and New Zealand, European, both sides have a hard time getting, yeah. I mean, like, here we've got the indigenous population here as well in Australia. Uh, I don't know, like, this is why, like, I can't do activism because activism seems to be hijacked by whoever is the most extreme. And it makes sense because the people who are most extreme, they're the ones who care the most. They have the biggest emotions about it. That's why they go extreme. And because they're the most dedicated, they end up taking over. And then it's like, no, we got to find the middle ground instead of constantly fighting. Oh, it's frustrating. I went to one protest and that was enough for me. That was the Medicare one way back. And when the Socialist Alliance student chick got up, it was just like, I did not come here for this. Another annoying thing about ads is I'll be halfway typing a message and it gets wiped. Oh no. People love to go to extremes. Yeah, I think the extremes are worse in America. I think Americans might be more emotional than Aussies. Definitely the culture is more extreme than Australia. Are you guys on phones? Is that part of the problem? It's like, if you were on a desktop, you could just open WordPad or something and type it somewhere else so it doesn't disappear. If you thought that was, yeah, phones, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of phones for anything. I'm definitely a desktop kid, and I don't know if they'll have to pry the desktop away from me. Great-grandfather German was killed because he refused to become a Nazi. Yeah. I mean, good on him, but that's terrible. I don't know, there's so much shit in history that's fucked up. But yeah, no, like, with a lot of things, people, I don't know, this is, like, it's kind of a weird thing for me because I don't experience normal emotions. Like, I realize that now, having had the schizoid diagnosis, so it's hard for me to understand how people can get sucked into these things. But, yeah, that's sad. But yeah, it's hard for me to understand how people get sucked into things, but having, like, looked at stuff like Life After Hate, and they've explained, like, there was one guy, he had the interview where it's like, how did he get into the neo-Nazi movement in the first place? And for him, it was a lot of isolation and essentially being adopted by the group, and then you become part of the group. And someone else told me, like, with Catholicism, like, I grew up Catholic. Some people apparently stay Catholic just for the social side of it. Like, they don't necessarily give a crap that much about the religion side of things. They might not even believe anymore, but they go to church anyway because they have that social connection. And, like, we are living in a culture where people are like, there's a loneliness epidemic. I don't understand that because I don't feel that loneliness for humans most of the time. I've got puppy, I've got the internet's enough for me. Like, I have low social needs, so it's hard for me to understand it. But I better pay a bit more attention. Oh, hi, it's Mr. Pigeon. Some people will become Catholic for the social connection too. Yeah. Apparently that's a thing. A bit different. I feel emotions, but find it hard to express it. Haven't cried in so long. That's hard. Yeah, I think, like, I probably do feel subconscious emotions, and that probably comes out as things like depression. And, like, since figuring out what my problems are, I did go through, like, I got to as my mental health has worsened, but I've also learned more about it. I've gone through moments where, like, I will cry so fucking hard and, like, not be able to control it, and it'll just fucking happen. Huh? New background? Oh, it's just that it's not lit up. Is this plugged in? There you go. It's just dark. Yeah, Mr. Pigeon. But yeah, no, social isolation, and then, like, the wrong group adopting you, it's a danger for some of those extreme groups. And yeah, and then, like, we've got these modern echo chambers with social media, and, like, this is the thing, this is okay, It is 9:30. Darkness makes a great background. It is 9:30, so I need to go and get some sleep because we are going to visit Puppy tomorrow, and I want to make sure I'm like well enough for that. But one of the things I wish people would remember, okay, because like there's also been some drama in the local music scene, which I won't get into, but you know, it's over stuff like as if someone has like attacked someone physically, or it's this huge drama. It's just like really it was just some small social media stuff. And the thing that you need to remember is social media companies, the big tech companies, they want us fighting each other, they want us hating each other, because all that controversy and drama, it gets eyeballs, it gets ad revenue, it gets people invested and addicted. um there's a reason that the news tends to focus on bad news, because that's what people are more attracted to. They want to know about. If an explosion goes off, I think George Carlin talked about that. Like, if there's an explosion goes off, you're like, oh shit, what's that? But then you find out it's in some country miles away, and it's like, okay, that's not such a big deal. The closer it is to you, the more dramatic it is. Something's going wrong nearby, and you get excited. Whereas if it's like a feel-good story, people aren't as interested. I think, like, evolutionarily, it makes sense for us to focus on the bad things, because the bad thing could be life-threatening. We need to pay attention to that. Whereas the good thing, it's just a good thing. It's not going to kill us. It's less important in that sense. And big tech, they want us to be fighting each other, having horrible things happen all the time, because that's what gets our attention. That's what sells us the ads, and that's how they get rich off it. And so when it comes to groups hating each other, left wing, right wing, or opinion groups, or people, having misunderstandings and disagreements, and then like airing their shit publicly instead of being adults and talking to each other, like, hey, I noticed this. It looks bad. What's going on here before I go public about it? No, people just go public about it straight away, cause all this drama, don't stick around to find out what really happened. And then, of course, the other party panics. They react in a way that isn't helpful. And then other people get involved and they react in ways that aren't helpful. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And we need to remember, at the end of the day, you can have disagreements, but at the end of the day, the real enemy is big tech at this point, because they have so much power and they keep enshittifying everything. They want our money. They want us to hate each other. So at the end of the day, you can disagree with people, but big tech wants us to disagree with people. Most average people are just trying to get through their lives. They're trying to do the right thing. Even some psychopaths are trying to do the right thing. They might have ended up in jail and realized, okay, I need to do the right thing to not end up in jail, and to get the things that they want. So like, you can't treat a psychopath in the sense that you can't make them feel the things they need to feel, but they can understand consequences and you can get through to them that way. So really, most people are trying to do the right thing. Psychopaths take a little longer to get there, but yeah, most people are trying to do the right thing, and not like most people are not psychopaths. So people are trying. They may not have the right strategy that you personally approve of. But fighting each other, there are some things that are legitimate to bring up, but you shouldn't be putting it on the internet just to make drama. That's what big tech wants us to do. There are more adult ways to do it. There are more respectful ways to do it. And hating people just for being part of a group when you don't know the full story, I like to wait. I still go for like innocent until proven guilty. And just like standing back from drama and realizing that big tech, like, okay, I'm seeing this drama, before I react. And I don't react because I don't have emotions in that way generally, but before I react, is this more of a big tech trying to make me angry, or is this really a problem? Like, really a real problem? If someone has just liked a post that you don't approve of, that's pretty minor. If someone has actually beat the shit out of someone, that's much more serious. I should probably go to the cops rather than to social media. Where are we? After the stream, if you cut up the Pokemon songs, you might get sued by the Pokemon Corp. Great publicity. Nah, they'll just get a revenue share, I reckon. Because people have posted covers of Pokemon songs and been fined, so it'll be a revenue share thing. Hope it goes well with Puppy. That's why I refuse to use Facebook. I mean, I'm on Facebook partly. I use Facebook mainly as a diary, and also it helps me keep track of events that I don't end up going to anyway. Misinformation is everywhere too. Yeah, misinformation. That's another way to stir up drama as well. So yeah, read a book. Get off the internet a bit and read a book. I try and read a little bit every day. Today I got through a whole chapter. I think the chapters are getting shorter in this book though, as the action picks up. And they've already set the scene and we can, get on. But yeah, just don't trust tech. If you see some drama where it's trying to make you angry about something, just take a moment and think, is there more to this story? Because there generally is. And, more than one thing can be true at the same time as well. They want you to think like, only one thing is right, but quite often more than one thing can be true. For example, like, with the bullshit that came up here earlier, that is bullshit, but there are also people with that problem who need treatment and need safe ways to seek treatment. So, like, more than one thing can be true at once. It doesn't excuse, especially people who've actually gone and done any of this shit. That is a crime. They need to be locked up, probably need to be castrated. Honestly, we're a little bit too kind to some of them. I know some of them do get chemically, but yeah, we're a bit too kind. But the people who are really trying not to go there, they need to be able to get treatment. Same with the depressed pilots. They need to be able to seek treatment without worrying that their entire career will be dead forever, especially some of them really love flying and they're not willing to get rid of it. So yeah, hope you have a good day tomorrow. Thank you. I hope you guys all have a good day as well. Yeah, I'm starting to think, is the culture scene kicking in? Do I need to go to the toilet? I'm feeling a bit off. Or is it just the nausea that I've had earlier today? Anyway, I better go. Thanks for joining me for this. If I put this back, has it got rid of all the bullshit? Yay! Well, all the bullshit is gone. I'm just going to hide it again, though, because I don't trust that. I'm going to get going. The dog... Oh. There he is. Can you see him? He's just there. Oh, what did I knock over? It's okay. Nothing is broken. Nothing is broken. Hey, do you want to come and say hello to everyone? You want to come and say hello, Nietzsche? Here he comes. The true star of the show is doing a bit of a stretch. Yeah. Oh, you're such a cutie. Will you hop up as well? Hop up. Hop up. Yeah, and can you do wave? No, just a wave. Wave. Just a wave. You don't need to put it. Okay, you're just going to do it. That's fine. Oh, yeah, he's going to get a friend. It's going to be a while before they can play together, though. Huh? Yeah, I know. You want to go to bed? Okay. Okay. I'll wrap this up. All right. Yay! We got the doggy. And yeah, I got to get him to bed, and I got to get me to bed. And yeah, he's the real star of the show, and you'll start seeing in a few more weeks. I'll start filming some more other puppy. I'll have to make a new puppy playlist, I guess. And yeah, that's the wholesome stuff. We finish on some wholesome stuff. Puppies. So it's going to be Mum's dog. Will be registered to me, though. And hopefully we can get them to grow up together and become good friends. And he won't be, it's so hard to organize play dates for him. Because, humans are the problem. Humans who just... I try and organize, nothing happens. People say they're interested, they don't organize anything themselves. So I just got to get another puppy. And it'd be cute. And it's the other, if I hadn't gotten a Finnish Lapphund, I was going to get a Japanese Spitz. So now we can have both, black and white, yin yang. The thing is revealed. The yin, yeah, that's part of it. And also like, a European breed and a Japanese breed. That's me as well. I'm like the white and Japanese. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Where do I... Hang on, how do I stop? Oh, that's the end stream button. All right, see you later, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, that one.